A long time ago, there was a beautiful couple, deeply in love and happily married. They were blessed with a beautiful daughter named Mabel. However, despite their love for her, they were both hardworking professionals. They had demanding jobs and often found themselves consumed by work just to make ends meet and provide for their precious little girl. Their biggest desire was to give Mabel a life filled with comfort and opportunities, but the price they paid was the absence of time spent with her. From the moment Mabel was born, the couple hired a nanny to care for her. The nanny became a steady presence in Mabel's life, looking after her day in and day out. As the years passed, Mabel grew to rely on the nanny as a maternal figure in her life, especially since her parents' schedules were packed and they barely had time to be with her. But one fateful morning, the nanny had an unexpected emergency and had to leave their home. It was a huge blow for the family. Mabel's parents were now in panic, unsure of who could take care of their daughter. Finding a new nanny proved to be a difficult task as they struggled to find someone they could trust. Then one day, a church member named Elijah, a kind-hearted 18-year-old student who had just returned from school for the holidays, noticed the stress on Mabel's parents. They were exhausted and overwhelmed by the situation. Seeing their struggle, Elijah offered to help. Since they all attended the same church, he felt a responsibility to lend a hand. Elijah volunteered to look after Mabel while her parents worked, promising to stay with her until they found a replacement nanny. Mabel's parents were overjoyed with his offer. It was a relief to know that their daughter would be in the care of someone they trusted from their church. Elijah quickly settled into the routine, taking care of Mabel every day, making sure she was safe and happy until her parents came home at night. Sometimes it was too late for Elijah to head back home. He would stay over, and his parents were fully aware of the arrangement, so it was never a problem. Weeks passed, and eventually, after a month, Mabel's parents found another nanny. They were immensely grateful to Elijah for stepping in when they needed help the most. To show their appreciation, they gifted him with money and several thoughtful presents. But just as life seems to settle back into a comfortable rhythm, something began to change in Mabel. Her parents started noticing odd behavior. She would frequently place her hands on her private parts, seemingly unaware of the inappropriateness of her actions. At first, her parents brushed it off as a childish behavior, but when the nanny started to raise concern, they began to worry. The final blow came when Mabel's teacher called her parents into school, expressing concern over Mabel's strange behavior in the class. The teacher had noticed it too and felt it was important for them to know. Feeling alarmed and unsure, Mabel's parents decided to sit down with their daughter. One evening, they gently asked Mabel where she had learned the behavior. To their horror, Mabel replied in a soft voice, "Uncle Elijah always touches me there." Her parents froze, shocked and unable to process what they had just heard. They asked again, hoping to hear something different, but Mabel repeated the same thing, her words unwavering. In an instant, the room seemed to darken. Her parents were devastated, heartbroken and angry all at once. They could barely breathe through the shock. Suddenly, Mabel's mother burst into tears, her face filled with regret and guilt. "It is my fault," she sobbed, her voice shaking. "If only I had been there for her. If only I had taken care of her myself." The pain of betrayal, confusion, and disbelief weighed heavily on the couple. They felt the consequences of their choices and wondered if they had unknowingly allowed harm to come to their precious daughter. Mabel's parents were devastated. Their sadness quickly turned into a burning anger. Without wasting a moment, they rushed to Elijah's house, hoping to confront him face to face. But when they arrived, They were told he wasn't around. The moment Elijah's parents learned why Mabel's parents were searching for him, panic filled their home. Elijah's father immediately called his son, warning him not to come back. Instead, his younger brother was sent to deliver his bag and some money so he could return to school quietly to avoid any confrontation. Meanwhile, Mabel's parents were standing outside the house, frustrated and helpless. They shouted, they threatened, they demanded answers, but there was no one to direct their pain to. Finally, defeated and furious, they returned home, their hearts heavy with sorrow and regret. "It's our fault," Mabel's mother whispered. "We trusted too easily. We thought we were doing our best, but we failed her." They knew now that nothing, no career, no money was worth their daughter's safety. The pain of betrayal was unbearable, but their priority had to shift. From that moment on, they vowed to protect Mabel with everything they had. But fate wasn't done writing the story. Just as Elijah was on the run, trying to escape the consequences of his actions, he was involved in a terrible accident. His injuries were critical. He was rushed to the hospital and needed emergency surgery to survive. The required amount for treatment was huge, far beyond what his family could afford. They were desperate and without options. Left with no choice, Elijah's parents swallowed their pride and shame. They went to Mabel's parents, their eyes swollen with tears, pleading for forgiveness and begging for help to save their son's life. Mabel's parents were enraged. The sight of the people whose son has violated their daughter filled them with disgust and pain. At first, they refused. They couldn't imagine helping the family of the boy who had caused such trauma. But after hours of pleading, of watching Elijah's mother on the news weeping uncontrollable, Mabel's parents made a difficult decision. Not for Elijah's sake, but because they didn't want another life lost in the middle of this tragedy. Slowly, they agreed to help cover the medical bills. Elijah survived the surgery, but justice has to be served. Shortly after his recovery, he was arrested. The case went to court. During the trial, all evidence and testimony were presented. Elijah was found guilty and sentenced accordingly. Justice, though painful, was done. Mabel's parents held their daughter tighter every day after that. They were different now, wiser, more present, and fiercely protective. They had learned a painful, unforgettable lesson. Love is not just about providing, it's about being present. And from that day forward, they vowed never to let anything or anyone come between them and the safety of their daughter again. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please like and subscribe to my channel.